I'm Angela Thomas, partner consumer and retail for Deininger Consulting in India. Headquartered in Germany, Deininger Consulting is one of the world's leading executive search and leadership consulting firms. I'm thrilled to have Preeti Singh join us today for our Deininger Leadership Talk series. Preeti is a senior dynamic HR leader, currently the SVP and head People and Capabilities South Asia at Mastercard. She's been with Mastercard since 2017 and today is responsible for Mastercard's largest unit outside of the US, covering technology, products, innovation, AI, data, international markets, services, etc. Preeti brings with her 25 years of very rich HR experience, having worked in diverse sectors of fintech, financial services, Alcobev, technology, media, airlines, so on and so forth. Most recently, she worked with the Alcobev major called Beam Suntory as their HR director India and HR systems leader for APAC. And prior to that, she held very senior roles in Sun Life, AXA, First Rain, Panalpina, Sara Group, etc. Welcome, Preeti, to Deininger Leadership Talk series.
Thank you, Angela. It's a pleasure and a delight to join you in today's talk session. I'm looking forward to the conversation.
Lovely. As you know, today's theme is empowerment. And I would like to start with something that Steve Jobs once said. My job is not easy, and my job is not to be easy on people. My job is to take these people who have joined us, these great people, push them and make them even better. And I think he's sort of wonderfully put the empowerment theme together. With that in mind, my first thought is, what do you think empowerment is in the overall leadership context?
For me, empowerment and leadership are closely intertwined and they go hand in hand. As our chairman at Mastercard, Ajay Banga, puts it for us, leadership and empowerment are all about having the hand on people's back and not on their face, which gives them the confidence to experiment and empowers them to bring the fresh ideas to work every day. And what I've been also doing is a bit of a research. It also suggests that when employees feel empowered at work, it is associated with their job, very strong job performance, satisfaction, commitment to the organization, and just adds to a lot of things. And empowerment creates really a healthy, positive, and successful environment where the ownership of the vision and the trust of the leadership is very key to the organization.
No, and I agree. But do you feel sometimes, and you've been part of such diverse industries and you've worked with such different leaders. Do you think leaders and managers often confuse delegation with empowerment?
Yeah, I mean, that's an interesting aspect, Angela. It is often said that to be a great leader, you have to be a great leader and have to learn how to delegate well. While empowering can motivate employees and fuel their creativity, it can also create an additional burden and stress that may hurt their routine performance. So delegation is not about assigning the responsibilities to team members based on their strengths and weaknesses to get their desired outcomes, but it is also to really enable them to make the decision and giving them the authority to drive some of those actions. And in that spirit, I'd like to say that when the team members are empowered, they're encouraged to take the personal responsibility, the accountability to work, deliver, make decisions. And in the end, this is all in the great success of the organization. These contributions do make a lot of difference.
No, agree. And then I think that goes back to the fact that the leader have trust and do employees have trust. And I always feel empowerment and trust go hand in hand. But how does one manage and align expectations at both ends when it comes to these two aspects?
Yeah, that's another aspect of it. So you talked about empowerment, delegation, and we're going trust. I would say trust is the foundation of building strong teams, creating a very strong work culture. And that's about producing the results. The path to empowerment actually begins with trust. When you provide employees the authority, the opportunity, and motivation to do their job, you ensure that you trust them to deliver the desired outcomes, right? The leadership needs to reiterate that we believe in you and your capabilities, and we are certain that you can do it, right? Very, very important. And then the employee believes that this is for their own, for his or her own good, and they will start delivering to what is the expectation of the organization. And I'd like to say that, trust and empowerment are very, very important fundamental pillars in an organization. And it leads to greater things, right? Better organizational alignment, improved efficiency, greater engagement, productivity, decision making. And most importantly, we've been talking during COVID times about the mental wellness. And with the trust and empowerment, there's less stress, burnout at workplace. And of course, end of the day, retention and the engagement matter a lot. So hence, trust is another very, very important element in an organizational context, I would say.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree. But do you think there is this constant tussle between the leader and follower phenomena, if I could put it like that? Employees always sort of look up to their leaders, and sometimes empowerment can come with a complete hands-off approach. But if that happens, how would one ensure that organization goals are not missed, there's decision making is not compromised? Where does a leader sort of let go or pull off?
So taking a step back, so I would say empowerment sometimes may be interpreted as managers or leaders taking a hands-off approach and overloading their teams with work. However, empowerment is a solution-oriented approach where the leaders kind of are open to new perspective from their team members rather than just commanding, right? Which in turn gives an employee the flexibility to put forward his or her suggestion and arrive at a decision. It certainly involves constant coaching, team members to self-serve, become adaptive, make decisions, and use less of their manager's time on things that really don't require the manager's attention. And I would say today, organizations are trying to shift from the model of authoritarian leadership to a model of worker empowerment. And we've seen that success even at MasterCard. So an employee looks up to the leader rather than follow a leader's suggestion. Only if we trust is built, right? And leader leads by an example at work. So I think this is an evolving space. It's no more followership, more inspirational, leading by example and creating more followers rather than a hands-off and just waiting things to really happen and them without providing rather hand-holding and rather right coaching.
No, interesting. So you're saying the entire mentorship should remain.
That's right.
And people should sort of get motivated and leaders should help in that motivation. So that's an entire employee piece. But I always also think about the other piece, and especially for leaders like you who sort of focus on creating that empowering culture, drive initiatives. But I also feel you need the execution to be done by the right kind of leader. But how do you motivate someone to become an empowering leader? And I always feel there's also sometimes this tendency to feel that empowerment is like a threat to someone's authority. There could be leaders who double down this thought and say, maybe if I let go too much, my authority will be questioned. So how do you balance that? And how do you create a culture where empowered leaders can be born or created for that matter?
So, Angela, to nurture and inculcate empowering leadership skills, an organization must contribute to the vision, encourage that the future leaders to participate in the ways that produce measurable and tangible results. Second, which is the most important thing, is respect your employees. Nothing can disempower workers faster than feeling disrespected. And the third important thing is communicate well and often. It's more important that to empower the future leaders, you must cultivate an environment that encourages an open dialogue. Reward is another important element. It's very, very important for the organizations to really encourage employees who take risks, try new things. In order for any organization to remain at the cutting edge, it has to be empowered by forward-thinking innovators. Last but not the least, empower the leaders with opportunities for growth and who permit their workers to explore new ways of working and doing away with the old things. Yeah, we're working in a very progressive environment, actually, Angela. I would like to say that not many leaders do believe that hiring more intelligent people or surrounding themselves with the leaders who are from a diverse background with diverse perspective will lead to larger success, because it leads to much more innovative ideas, suggestions, and the plans in today's competitive world. Mm. And the point that you make about how do you educate those leaders to be really more inclusive and much more empowering, right? I think it's also about it's a two-way process. So leaders, while they will do what they would like to do, I'd like to also say that it's also upon the employees in the organization. Empowerment is, in my personal experience, is not given, it's taken, right? You take your small steps, build your credibility, do deliver certain things to the requirement of the organization, and things will happen. And your leader, who even if he or she has that kind of inhibition that I'll be deprived of my power or my authority, kind of starts to enjoy that partnership with this colleague, because it makes life easier for both the parties, right? To deliver to the common objective and to deliver to each other's mutual, intellectually sound approach that is kind of has been put together.
No, interesting. And I'm glad you said that. I think it eventually, you have to earn the trust. You have to keep doing the right thing and perhaps push or nudge the leader to recognize that and be an empowering leader. That's an interesting take. I also know, as an organization, and you've been part of organizations that have focused on empowerment. And in fact, even the current one, you briefly touched upon it. But empowerment and opportunity are amongst top priorities globally for your organization. Have you felt a difference in performance or success of employees who operate in an empowered culture vis-a-vis who don't? Do you see a difference?
Yeah, there is a huge difference between empowered work culture and only delegating work culture, right? And we've observed it, that difference in attitude of employees when they're empowered, such as going that extra mile, enthusiasm at work, more participative, effective decision making, rather than just employees focusing on execution and completion of the job, right? I think there is an opportunity and empowerment along with the inclusion of the global priorities, even talking about MasterCard for us. From our dynamic workplace to our product and solutions, that we're furthering our commitment for equality for all. And this kind of helps us because we do want to believe that empowerment and opportunity for employees can be achieved by incorporating, the employee development into strategic planning. I think it's important that making employees' growth part of your strategic planning does help. It's a mutually beneficial growth opportunity. Incorporating learning and development into strategic planning, incentivizing and recognizing employee achievements at regular intervals, that kind of adds to it. And last but not the least is the culture. Cultivating the culture of continuous learning and recognizing effort, it just creates that perfect platform. And if I was to really expand further, at MasterCard, we have got something that's called as 4C formula. It's all about to stay connected and understand the need and resolve any issues that the employees are facing. And COVID times have left really extreme experiences in our minds very recently. The first C stands for communication, the regular communication. Second is around caution, preempt any signs of stress, anxiety by connecting with them regularly. Care, I think the care during these times, even when we are recovering, it's very, very important because the well-being of our employees has been one of the topmost priority. The wellness initiative that we put in place and focus on the mental health and fitness of employee has just taken a next level of paradigm shift that we are focusing on. And the fourth C is, of course, compassion, because the role of people managers have become all the more critical, dealing with the situation, the flexibility, with compassion, the understanding, because we're not working from home, but with home. So you get to know about family, the members, and if there are elder parents to take care of. So that compassion. And that all leads to an opportunity, coming back to your point of empowerment and opportunity. It just creates a lot more cadence around the trust, the empowerment. And then the delivery happens. People are like so very engaged that they're part of the organization. So those are the couple of points that I'd like to really highlight.
Lovely. I love the 4 C's, and I think everyone should sort of inculcate that in some way or the other in their culture. one last thing, Preeti, and I'm intrigued. Such diverse experience over 25 years, and such dynamic organizations. I'm intrigued, and I would like to ask, in your career span, when have you felt most empowered? And perhaps maybe a second part to it, when do you think your team has felt most empowered?
I've been blessed, Angela. I've always had the best of my managers and also the environment that I kind of worked uh, was super promoting of the women leaders and employees in the company. So this is about when I felt more empowered to your question. I used to be working in one of my, and this is way back in early 2000, that it was a two-member team. In less than 3 months in a role, my manager went on mat leave unexpectedly, and we were implementing new performance management tool, right? Early in the career, I was myself getting my understanding about the evolving the technology space and everything else. I did not have to wait. I mean, I did, and the timelines were like, we were just going to the execution, and I had to jump into the action, take control of everything, the schedules, the technology, delivery, communication, change management, just less than 3 months old in the organization. And somehow the whole universe came together to make sure that this project was to be delivered, and it got delivered. I felt super proud that, when, and the point that I made, that empowerment is taken and not given. So I did not wait for somebody to tell me, here is your project and you need to get it delivered. Rather, I did take it on me because my manager had to go for leave and we had to deliver to the organization. And that was the moment I did feel that, and that was my learning experience, that you don't have to wait for others to tell you what to do. It's just time that you have your resources. You need to really leverage your network, utilize your resources, and actually get into action. You will feel the bit of an ambiguity, but as you navigate, you'll keep finding the solutions. And when we were able to deliver it to about 4,000 employees, believe me, Angela, it was a moment of delight and a great joy for me that less than 3 months could deliver something, working across different geographies. And that was a great learning, that you don't just keep going and doing things that are really helpful. Now, talking about the employees, and I like to take example of the recent COVID wave 2 crisis. Some of us ourselves, and I'm talking about the people and capability team at Mastercard, some of us were infected, but that did not stop us. I mean, the way that our colleagues came together to help each other, whether we formed a WhatsApp group, employee support group, creating a handbook, manual and FAQs, and supporting the dependent employees. I think the empowerment, again, it's like we did not know how to deal with this crisis, right? Nobody had trained us. It's just that the environment was such, the trust and the whole support system was in place, that people knew, that teams knew, and my colleagues knew, that if they were to put something together to help each other or for the larger interest of the organization, this will certainly be helpful and this will come to life. And you won't believe, it did not take us more than 15 days to put the whole infrastructure together to really support our 4,000 plus employees across different geographies in India, to really do that. And these are little examples. I mean, I can take business examples there, Angela, but these are the examples that have touched people's life, and they did not think that, I don't know this guy, this is not part of my business unit. And that's what it is all about: taking control of the situation, getting that authority to make the right decision, be innovative to ensure that the approach or the solutions that you're kind of putting together is helpful, and using the compassion, not forgetting about the compassion, which is very key to us, to really drive those initiatives, or something which kind of remains very close to my heart. These two experiences, I think, are very, very close to me.
Absolutely. And well done, Preeti. Well done to you, and well done to the entire team at Mastercard. And I would keep this in mind, empowerment needs to be taken and not given. But I also feel, like you said, and much like your team performed, it needs an empowering leader for their teams to stand out of their comfort zone and do things and go that extra mile. But lovely, Preeti. Thank you so much for being a part of DLTS. It's been an absolute pleasure. And I'm sure much like me, everyone else would find it as inspiring as it is.
Thank you. Thank you, Angela, for inviting me. It's been a great pleasure speaking with you and sharing some insights. Thank you.